All right, Shalom. All right, this is your brother Zachariah Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, coming with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. Before I get started with this lesson, of course, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto our power Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, V'chah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, is laboring in the word, and is pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. All right, and Shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, to you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. All right, I want to say peace and blessings to you all, Barakatham. And, pretty much, I was just going through some videos that I had long time ago, you know what I'm saying? I was clearing out my inventory, you know what I'm saying, of all the things that I wanted to use for lessons and things that I've used for lessons in previous, at a previous time, earlier in the years. And this particularly was one video that one lesson that the elder Karatazar was doing, and and I saw a couple other videos that I wanted to do a lesson on, just compiled them all, you know what I'm saying, for edification. And before I do any of that, all right, I'm just declaring fair use. All right, this is for educational purposes only. All right, under the Copyright Act of 1976. See what I'm saying? So this, as I said, this is Elder Karatazar who was responding to this video, all right, or this interview, I suppose, or debate that was being had between Captain Tazariak and the dude Hassan Campbell, all right, and I just wanted to point out, all right, that as we're getting closer to this thing, all right, we're getting closer to the end of Esau's rulership, all right, one day closer to the fall of his empire, okay, ever closer to the hour of temptation. It's very important that you know who it is who have been teaching you the correct doctrine, who has been teaching you the truth the whole time. You see what I'm saying? And one of the things that have not been taught, all right, correctly by all these different camps out here outside of Great Millstone has been, all right, the prophecy of the mark of the beast, all right, and that is something that cannot be overlooked. That is a prophecy that cannot be misinterpreted, all right, and it cannot be taught incorrectly. You see what I'm saying? Because as the scriptures say, this prophecy comes with a heavy consequence. All right, a heavy consequence should you get this wrong. Okay, and as the scriptures say also, the remnant shall return. The remnant. You see, not everyone's going to get this. So without further ado, all right, let's listen to Captain Tazariak, and then I want you to listen to, all right, the great Bishop Nathaniel. You know what I'm saying? These are your leaders. These are the ones that proclaim to be leaders in Israel. You know what I'm saying? Having taught the sheep. Hey, the scriptures say that by their works you shall know them. All right, you should know them by their fruit. Check it out.
Shows as doomsday preppers. They putting out shows as doomsday preppers, and they putting out shows like on The Walking Dead or How to Survive. You going into nature for 30 days and seeing how long you can stay out there naked and afraid. celebrity gossip, by dead celebrities, by Kanye West with his ignorance. It's like we are living in a time where a hard head is going to make a soft ass. And all I'm going to tell you people is, don't find yourself going to Uncle Sam looking for aid and help, and he leads you to a FEMA camp because you can't pay these bills, because you can't provide for your children, because y'all think it's a game and y'all think it's a crutch, and y'all got too comfortable using Uncle Sam. He's going to put you in a position where he wants you to.
Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help.
In those camps, to get that help, you got to get that check, that mark of the beast.
Oh, Tazariak. Look.
I'm gonna tell you something.
You gotta interject now.
For black people, okay, so now I'm gonna flip this.
Yeah, he's throwing off.
Said, right? Because
all right, so let's let me get this precept that the elder had just mentioned. All right, and again, this was back in the year 2022. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, this was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, man. All right, how time flies, man. Okay, but Isaiah chapter 30. All right, let's go to 31. Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 1. It says, "Woe to them, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. All right, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Yashar'Allah, neither seek the Lord Yahweh." You see? And so when this thing hits, all right, that hour of temptation, when it comes upon the whole world, you see what I'm saying? People are going to trust in this devil's solution. All right? These people are going to trust in his salvation, I should say. Okay? And they're not going to lean on the Lord. And I'm talking about you Israelites, man. Majority of y'all just won't make it. You see, many of you're gonna buckle because your wife took it. All right, maybe she went and she got the kids, all right, chipped up. What are you gonna do then? What are you gonna do then? You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be pressure on every side. Everyone's gonna be under pressure. So let's listen to this dude, Captain Tazariak. All right, Joker's already going off.
for black people, okay, so now I'm gonna flip this.
Yeah, he's throwing off.
Said, right? Because some of that.
Look, he's throwing off.
Talk, not from you, because you're speaking from the FEMA camps, the bunkers and shit. That's all white folk shit, right? Because white
folk shit
believe that their kingdom is fallen.
This dude is out of his mind, man. Tazariak, you are not a man of the Lord, bro.
In bunkers and shit. You put a nigga in the bunker, he dying in 2 weeks. He not gonna have enough food in there. We don't think like bunkers. But here's what I will tell you: when the heroin,
man,
the feminist movement,
how Hassan Campbell, he sound, how is he sounding more like he's in a prophecy than this guy?
Community, and we decided to sell it. We like to look at what we call the OGs.
What the hell is he talking about, man? He went directly into selling dope, selling crack cocaine. This Joker went all over the place. This Joker is all over the place, man.
Man's position and imparted on ourselves.
Tazariak is, these dudes sold out, man.
And wonder why we can't get out. And then we take the time.
These dudes are compromised.
Everything that the white man is doing, but won't do what it takes.
Hassan is more on point than this guy. That's a damn shame.
Condition. So FEMA camps, just to correct, there ain't no such thing as a microchip that's a mark of the beast. The beast is the spirit that you carry for that beast.
What
So
the
that mark,
fuck is
like,
that? What are you talking about?
What's in your forehead? Your brain. What you think with.
Oh my
Your hand
goodness.
symbolizes the action.
Yeah, y'all brothers already know.
So now, when you take
There's about to be a bunch of response videos to this.
what are you willing to do with it?
Captain Zaryak, he's a clown, man. This guy, he doesn't have it.
And we take the action.
He doesn't have it, man.
We take in the information of I could kill my brother, and we take the action of doing it. What you put in your spirit, what you take into
He
your
looking
brain
down like, man, this nigga talking some bullshit
how
now.
you carry yourself. So we don't have to wait. Listen.
And what does that have to do with buying and selling?
The white man tells us to do today. He does not have to put a microchip in our body to control us. He does not have to do that.
All right,
We already
I'm done.
All right. And I remember, man. I remember back in 2022. This is when it happened. And they had that they had that whole debate, and you know, after this whole situation, you know what I'm saying, the dude said what he said, as you heard. All right. And then what? You had all the brothers, man, the whole brotherhood went on and attacked this this madness. All right, because this work that we do is for, you know, is for the edification of the sheep, is for the protection of the sheep. You see what I'm saying? It's for the protection of the sheep. And like the elder said, these jokers done sold out. All right, they done sold out. You see? They have sold out. And he said that they don't have to put a device within you. Hey man, everything that you see that's going down right now, all right, is all culminating to what this end goal is, as I'm going to show you later. All right. Real quick. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 19. Sirach, chapter 20. The book of Sirach, chapter 20, verse 29, it says, presents and gifts blind the eyes of the wise and stop up the mouth that he cannot reprove. Wisdom that is hid and treasure that is hoarded up, what profit is in them both? All right? What profit is in them both? This joker don't believe what he's saying. He don't believe what he's saying. He knows what the mark of the beast is. He knows what it is. He knows what the MOTB is. All right? And just like I'm about to show you, Bishop Nathaniel, he knows full well. This is why he's trying to give himself wiggle room so that he can say, oh, I wasn't saying that it wouldn't happen. You see? So, you know, these guys are not dumb. They're not dumb. They don't believe the rhetoric that they're pushing out. They don't believe this BS breakdown that they're using, that they're pushing. All right? But they have to do it to keep appearance. They have to do this thing to keep in right standing with this 501c3 charter that they have. You know what I'm saying? So they can continue to get the money that they have. So they can continue to get the fame and all these things that they lean on. Right? So let me show you the great Bishop Nathaniel. Bear with me.
The mark of, who remembers what the mark of God is? Raise your hand. The seal of God, the mark of God. Who remembers what it is? Raise your hand.
Ezekiel 9:4.
What is the seal of God?
That's the mark of God. It's the laws.
The laws. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you another question. It's an easy question. If the mark of God, the seal of God is the law, what is the mark of the beast?
That's sin.
Oh, very good. Thank you. I thought you were going to say something else. I thought he was going to come out with a microchip. I said, if this guy comes out with a damn microchip. Now, I'm going to clear that up because we went over last week about digital currency. And, you know, Esau has plan A, B, and C. They might throw a microchip out there, but that's not the mark of the beast. Sin is the mark of the beast. Everybody got that? I hope y'all taking notes.
All right. And I hope you all are taking notes. So let's check this out. All right, let's go to Revelation chapter 13. All right. And let's go into this MOTB. All right. You hear us break this down all the time. You hear us break it down ad nauseum. All right. Why? Because we were commanded. First and foremost, we were commanded to do so. You know what I'm saying? We were commanded to bring the warning to the people. We were commanded to feed the sheep. You see what I'm saying? And this is where it's at. This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, a charagma. When you break it down in the Greek, that word for mark is charagma. You break it down further, the root word of charagma is charax. You break down the root word of charax, you go into grapho. Okay, charagma is something that is to be planted or is to be placed in, to be etched, and etching in the skin. You see what I'm saying? And etching and scratching in the skin. Okay, that's charagma. The root word of charagma in the Greek is charax. Charax goes into a palisade or a stake or stake. You see what I'm saying? A palisade. Okay, what is a palisade? What is a stake? It is a puncturing instrument. Okay? And what is used to administer under the skin or to inoculate you is what? It is a syringe. Okay? It is a syringe. A sharp instrument that will deliver something inside of the body. The body. All right, so the root word of charagma is charax. I just told you that. The root word of charax is grapho. Grapho goes into writing. All right, something that is written, something that is recorded. All right, something that is printed. So when you talk about something that is written, it goes into what? It goes into code. It goes into data of writing. All right. When you rewrite DNA, you go into the coding of that DNA structure. Okay. So what is this particular device going to do? It is going to rewrite the coding. Okay. Now what will happen? It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay? And we see many companies. We see many companies. One most notable is Neuralink. All right? Neuralink, who have constructed a device that will go within your skull, in your forehead. All right? And this is where Captain Tazariak stops. This is where Bishop Nathaniel stops. This is where Priest Zabak stops at. This is where Brother Naquam stops at. This is where Ratazan Sharon stops at, so on and so forth. This is where all these false prophets stop at. They don't go any further. And why don't they go any further? Is because they would have to explain this next part. All right? Because the mark is going to have something to do with your life, with your livelihood, with your daily living. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. You see what I'm saying? And what is all of this? It's talking about this device is going to have this coding within it. Okay? And without it, you will not be able to participate in society. You will not be able to buy anything. You won't be able to own a home. You won't be able to buy a car. You won't be able to buy groceries. You won't be able to do this, do that, have a means of commerce, have a business. You won't be able to sell products without this device. You see what I'm saying? I hope you're taking notes. So with that said, all right, let me go here. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 22. Starting at verse 25, it says, "There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls. They have taken the treasure and precious things," meaning this truth. "They have made her many widows in the midst thereof. Her priests have violated my law, and have profaned mine holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profaned among them." Okay, and that's going into the changing of doctrine. All right, that's going into this the false pretenses. You see, all these things that they have. All right, they have basically conned the people into believing, as the elder apostle Tahar says all the time, that they're zombies. All right, you look at these jokers over in IUIC, they're zombies. Look at the people who are following Genesis, they're zombies. Okay, they're zombies. What do our teachers, what do our leaders tell us in Great Millstone? What do they tell us? They tell us, don't listen to what we say. Do the work yourself. Take what we say and go into the scriptures and see for yourself. Go and do your own research diligently. Pray to the Lord to open your eyes, to open your mind to this. All right? Pray to the Lord to open your mind, and you confirm, just as it was in the church of Berea. You see? Just as it was with the church of Berea. They didn't just hear what the Apostle Paul said. They heard what he said, and they confirmed it to see if it was true. They confirmed it with scripture. Okay? So if I'm sitting here telling you that this MOTB will be a subdermal device that will go underneath your skin, and with this device you will be able, that will be the only way for you to be able to buy food, all right, to sell products, so on and so forth. Well, what do you do as the person that's listening? What do you do as that diligent believer in faith? You go and you search, and you see if it's true, what I just said. You see what I'm saying? And out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established. All right, so I gave you 2 examples to show you that these are false prophets. Now I'm going to give you 2 witnesses to prove to you of what that I say, and the men of the Great Millstone, beginning with our apostles, bishops, and elders on down, and the men of the likewise doctrine are telling are correct. Check this out. All right, and before I show you this, let me continue on in Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse 27. "Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls to get dishonest gain. And her prophets have dubbed them with untempered mortar, seeing vanity, with divining lies, all right, and divining lies unto them, saying, Thus saith the Lord power, when the Lord power have not spoken." You see? So, I want to grab the next precept. All right, but before I do so, let's go on with this video here. All right, bear with me.
Alright, shalom. I don't know how this is gonna come out, it's gonna turn out, but I have breaking news. Right, breaking news. Right, the MOTB, the C-HIP, right, is here. I see Salak here. Let's pull on this real quick. It's here. This is in the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, right? It says syringe and microchip. Microchips are being used by pet owners as what means of storing information and tracking animals. will they be used in humans eventually? It's here. You see? The product code, the UPC code, the syringe, and what? The microchip. It's here. Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. It's here.
Now, I want you to notice all of that is there. All right? All of that is right there. Take it back a little bit so you can see clearly. All right? All of it is right here. So when you go into charagma, remember charagma is an etching. All right? An etching of the skin. And what is going to be the cause of that etching of the skin is going to be, the root word of that is karax. It's going to be, all right, a ministering instrument that will puncture that said skin, which would be what? A syringe. All right, to deliver something. And within that something, what will be within that something? Grapho. The root word for karax is grapho. All right, and that's where you get the writing, the data, okay? A barcode, coding, writing, all within. You see what I'm saying? All three of those words rooted are within one, and that's the MOTB, okay?
There you go. It's here. There's also a smartwatch. It's here. There's a museum, right? In the central bank, and it's here. 2023, year of the fulfilling of all prophecies. Kalalaliamla, Yahweh Shim Yashai. All praises say Yahweh Shim Yashai.
Okay, and that was back in 2023. Okay, a year after that whole situation with Captain Tazariak and Hassan Campbell, right? So this prophecy is showing itself. And if you can't see it at this point, then it's because the Lord, either you sold out, or the Lord is has kept you from seeing it. The Lord is keeping you from seeing it. All right? Real quick.
It starts with this, the mark of the slaves.
Okay.
It was the first reserve currency ever known to man. Thaler coin from the Roman empires. Spanish silver dollar from the Spanish monarchy.
Right.
It's a bridge. There's still a few things missing, but for the most part, the most important, US dollar and Federal Reserve. Credit card. Contactless, which is very interesting because this piece was made in 2014. It existed, the technology, but we didn't use it to pay as we use it now. And then a bit of a future that it's either chipped or barcode.
Mm-hmm.
But then he ends with the mark of the slaves again. Because one of the things that he puts here on the shredded is that experts say that in less than 10 years, we're phasing out of paper currency. We're not having any paper anymore. Everything's going to be digital on the banks. And we're going to end up being slaves of some entity or some government or something.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope these things are making sense to you. Okay, as we get closer and closer to this thing, you know what I'm saying? These false prophets are losing more and more ground in which they can stand on. They're running out of room. Okay? They're running out of places to fall back on, man. You see what I'm saying? They can't move the goalpost. They can't keep moving the goalpost, and they can't keep kicking the can down the road, man. All right? Very soon, everyone is going to have to face this. Everyone is going to have to see it. Okay? This is Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 10. It says, his watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yeah, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. All right? And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain from his quarters. You know what I'm saying? When you go to the book of John chapter 11, all right, or Slakia, John chapter 10, verse 11, you know what I'm saying? The Lord said, Yahushua said, I am the sheep. Slakia, I am the good shepherd. All right. And the good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. All right. But these are not the shepherd. These are not the good shepherd. These are not these are hirelings. You know what I'm saying? All right. Just as the Lord has sent the true prophets to be as watchmen for the nation of Israel. All right. He would have these individuals who are not fit to lead the sheep. They would lead the flock astray. You know what I'm saying? And in actual fact, there's stumbling blocks unto those that the Lord doesn't want. You see what I'm saying? So all those zombies that's following Bishop Nathaniel of IOIC, following General Yohana, Captain Tazariak of ISUPK, so on and so forth, following all these different guys who aren't willing to teach you the truth, okay? They're going to fall. John chapter 10, verse 11. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. But he that is an hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth, because he is an hireling, and careth not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and am known of mine. You see what I'm saying? So, these characters out here who feign themselves as teachers amongst Israel, who are actively teaching against this prophecy, all right, they are false prophets, man. They are false prophets. Goofballs, as I like to call them. You know what I'm saying? So let's listen to this video, and then we'll close it out. It's 6 minutes, so bear with it. Bear with me.
German banking economist Richard Werner was selected as a global leader for tomorrow by the World Economic Forum in Davos in 2003. Here, he tells us an insider's view of what to soon expect, and says the only way to survive the Great Reset is for us to immediately begin setting up our own banking system.
In each domicile, they should be locally set up and authorized by the local regulators, and it's a profitable investment. Banking is profitable. Yeah. So the investors would get a return while the local community would get a return, and it's a way of delaying, perhaps even preventing the introduction of CBDCs. They have literally delayed their agenda because I think it's so important to them. They've been very careful about the timing, and let's wait a little longer, let's wait a little longer, let's have this crisis first, let's have COVID first, soften them up. But they've delayed because the technology was already ready around 2015 to.
And to be clear, all right, to be more precise, this technology was even ready back in the early 2000s. All right. But they halted their production. They halted their plans when the apostles came on YouTube back in 2007 and start to bring out the truth. All right, and start to warn the people. And so they had to think twice about these things, man. And they needed more chaos. They needed more they needed more calamities to hit. Okay. And so it brings us here after having waited for well over a decade. All right. It seems they're ready to move forward with their plans, man. All right. So we're about to see this thing go down real soon.
All out. And what people don't mention is, what do these CBDCs actually look like? At the moment, there's a bit of talk about this being phone-based apps. And yes, that is the initial phase. But what was already ready around 2015 is the ultimate goal. What they really want, apparently, I was told by a central banker, is, CBDCs looks like a small grain of rice that they want to put under your skin, which is, in my view, a violation of human dignity. And they realize there is a hurdle. So to get people to accept this.
Exactly. And there is a hurdle. This is why you keep seeing This is why you keep seeing Trump, all right, and all these jokers on the right are now saying, hey, we need to curb this Constitution. We need to curb the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, so on and so forth. You hear Judge Napolitano speak about it all the time. All right.
There will be, why suddenly all the billionaires.
And by the way, like the prophet said, you know what I'm saying? The one thing that is the biggest hurdle for these cats is two things. All right. Like I said, the Constitution, and the second is the Bible. All right. Because they know that what they are doing directly correlates with what's written. You see what I'm saying? They know that John the Revelator had seen this. All right. And they know that the prophets are out here on the street corners. You see what I'm saying? And you think that if it was up to them, all right, they would, you don't think they would have they could have rolled up on us years ago? I mean, years ago, they could have rolled up on us. All right. But they know that there are rules. And these rules they have to abide by. Okay? Rules in the spirit realm that they cannot they can't deviate from. You know what I'm saying? I want to show you this other video that I got to prove that point. I might stuff it into this one. We'll have to see, but bear with me.
There will be, why suddenly all the billionaires saying, let's have universal basic income? Because the story is going to be, now we've created this vast unemployment and disruption and crises. Well, we need universal basic income. You will get 2,000 euros into your account every month. But of course, to run this efficiently, we need to use the latest technology. So, you need the CBDC chip implant. But how many people will say, okay, fine, £2,000, 2,000 euros,
a surprising proportion, shockingly, obviously, to me or yourself, but we've seen years ago in Sweden, there has been a substantial small minority take-up of what's currently much larger. It's kind of like a little cylinder in stainless steel, I guess, maybe it's titanium or something, and they're doing it because they just want to. They want to be early adopters of this nonsense. So if anyone's listening and that sounds fanciful or conspiracy theorish, the fact is in Sweden they are taking it up and in other places, and that's not coming out of nowhere.
The Bank for International Settlements recently published a report called Blueprint for the Future Monetary System.
And if you remember, all right, during the lockdowns in 2020, all right, the one country that was not locked down, it was Sweden. And why is that? Is because Sweden is currently in this whole system. It's already locked. It's already locked and loaded over there. You see what I'm saying? So they're about to get this thing going worldwide very soon with the close of the Strait of Hormuz, okay, and all the supply chains being disrupted as the central banker there has said. You know what I'm saying? They planned this whole crisis. They planned it. Okay, just like the prophets told you that they was going to do it.
Moving the old, enabling the new. This report proposes that a central bank digital currency will serve as the new reserve currency and calls for the digital confiscation of all physical property by assigning every real-world item its own unique digital token, which will contain rules on how each item can and cannot be used, so that each person can be controlled and conditioned directly by the central bank.
Across the millennium years is crunch time in this whole agenda, crunch time for the human race. This is the time when this network of interbreeding bloodlines wants to bring in its global fascist structure of a world government to which nation states would be administrative units, of a world central bank and a world currency, a currency that wouldn't be cash, it would be merely electronic, for which there are fundamental implications for human freedom. and also the World Army, which is designed to be NATO, expanding and expanding as it is now, of course, to become the fully fledged World Army, World Police Force. And underpinning that little lot is designed to be a microchip population, in which we are microchipped with our financial details, our medical details, etc., etc. And that would allow not only electronic tagging, people knowing where we are all the time, it would allow the external manipulation through this electronic means of our mental and emotional processes. This will happen unless the human race wakes up and wakes up fast. And to do that, we need to understand what's really going on. And to let people know that, we've got to stop beating about the bush, stop pulling punches, stop pussyfooting around, keeping information from people, oh my goodness, how will they react, and just say, this is going on, take it or leave it, make of it what you will, but this is what's going on.
Commonwealth Bank has scrapped cash withdrawals and deposits at many branches across Australia, with customers no longer able to access their money over the counter. Telecash transactions are not available at branches, including Commonwealth Bank Place in the centre of Sydney, along with the nearby South Eveleigh, Barangaroo, Penrith and University of Sydney, which the bank now calls specialist centres. Daily Mail Australia also understands some specialist centre branches in Brisbane and Melbourne no longer permit over-the-counter cash withdrawals and deposits. Deposits and withdrawals can still be made via on-site ATMs, but for those who don't have their bank card handy, things can be much more difficult. All
right, so you can see, as you can see, we're moving into this system. You know what I'm saying? We're moving into this system, and it's not something that's going to go away. You know what I'm saying? As the Lord had said, a time unlike any other is approaching. All right? Matthew chapter 24, verse 21, For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. You see what I'm saying? And just as our apostle Har said, you know what I'm saying, once they mandate this chip, once they mandate this device, all right, a couple things is finna happen. All right. All these false prophets are going to be exposed. These jakes are going to be asking questions. They're going to be confused. They're not going to know which way to turn. Okay? And a lot of them are going to start looking for the true prophets, and they're not going to find us. All right? They're not going to see where we are, man. Okay? The Lord's going to hide his men, and he's going to keep us from being able to speak. All right? Because what's going to happen? They're about to outlaw this book. They're going to outlaw the Bible. They're going to outlaw street preaching. They're going to outlaw all types of things, all types of stuff, man. We won't be able to be out here. All right? The Lord's going to shut up our lips, man, so we can't speak. You see? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 26. It says, And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be drunk. Let me read that again. Ezekiel 3 and 26. And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be dumb, and shalt not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house. Okay, so we won't be out here, all right, giving the warnings anymore. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, we're coming into this time, and all the false prophets are gonna have to make an account, all right, for what they've done, for what they've said, all right, for having come against the true doctrine. You see what I'm saying? And leading the flock astray, man. They're gonna have to pay heavily for this, and the Lord's going to require it when He returns. So I'm gonna cut that there, man. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zachariah Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchak, Wadash, double honors, and to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect.
One of the things that I learned from whistleblowers, from the cabal itself, is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules state that they have to tell us what they're doing. Therefore, if we allow it to happen, we have consented to tyranny, we have consented to enslavement. Now, if you get into the secret history of the cabal, Queen Elizabeth's royal astrologer, a man named John Dee, who is the prototype of the wizard with the long beard, the hat, and what he did was to rediscover, through these ancient documents that were in the Vatican, the technology of how to access what they considered to be spiritual beings that were useful to them, but what we would consider to be demonic or evil beings. These beings need to be accessed through a very complex set of rituals and ceremonies. You cannot just ask for them to show up. You have to follow very elaborate and specific protocols. So John Dee rediscovered the technology of how to draw the magic circles, how to say the right incantations, how to actually do black magic on a governmental level. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice black magic.